A great pleasure to see you all. Thank you for greeting me. I am Lee Man-hee, the chair of HWPL. It was great to hear all your discussions and your zeal for peace. As you know, we have been carrying out the work of peace for quite some time as well. So I would like to briefly take this moment and introduce you to the HWPL. HWPL has drafted and announced the DPCW, the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War, which is an international legal instrument for peace. This was not done by my work alone. This was done in collaboration with world-renowned international law experts. And the purpose of this work was to form a legal instrument for international peace. And where did I get this idea? This was all for peace. Our purpose and cause is to end wars, to build peace, to build a lasting legacy for peace for the future generations. Of course, this is no small thing. It cannot be achieved by any small mind. It has never been attained before in history, so this is a big cause, and we take it very seriously, and there is no way we can do this alone. No single man can do this. You cannot argue this when you are alone. That is why we contacted and worked with 21 renowned international law experts in drafting the Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War. If you think about war, the atrocities, the lives lost, that can never be made a heritage that lasts. And wars must be resolved for good during our generation. If you think about why UN was founded, it was founded for peace. The UN was convened for global peace, and as you know, there are 5-6 countries forming a special committee, and their role is to be the watchdog to prevent wars in the global community. And one of that member is Russia. But as we know, and as we see today, Russia was the culprit of a war that is going on right now. Then you see the paradox here. You see how the current international legal system is not doing its role and fulfilling its purpose. That is where the DPCW comes in. The 10 articles and 38 clauses of the DPCW is for peace. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? If somebody has to take the role and take the lead, the initiative must be taken. So, when we submit this to the UN at the General Assembly and their meetings, they will have a voting. And when it is put up for a vote, I trust that the Philippines will be one of the supporting hands. Why? Because this is all for peace. This is to build a legacy that will last for the future generations. Our legacy must not be war. The 10 articles and 38 clauses of the DPCW, if you look at the content, it says we would not resort to war. Weapons will be diminished and made into useful tools for life. And I am sure you all know very well about the situations in Mindanao and its history of conflict, which was resolved. And even the very man who was once called a militant, or the leader there, he once visited me and brought me a gift. That gift I hold dearly at my office was a memento made by melting down a weapon. made into a sickle. And we made a pledge together to work for peace and do away from violence. This is the right thing to do, isn't it? And this is progress being made, isn't it? Decades, decades of conflict and violation. It was not resolved before. I am meager and weak. I am not attractive. But when my initiative, when my words speak the truth, then people do agree. And that is how this progress was made. The representative of the Muslim community in Mindanao and representative of other sides came together. We came together as a group. We discussed peace. And we committed to build peace in the region. That was the peace agreement. And we need to see it through and fulfill those pledges. Again, about forming the international legal instrument, we are still working on submitting it to the UN. But we are again reminded of the irony here, Russia being one of the members who are supposed to be preventing war. We must think about the international order and its legal terms. The current order is not functioning as it should be. And that is why I ask you and invite you to support the DPCW, because we all want to build a better world. We want a good world. We don't want this to be all talk. We want to fulfill our pledges. That is why I travel around the globe, even up to 31 world peace tours. That's quite a lot of traveling, wouldn't you say? And nobody paid me to do that. It was voluntary work. And why did I do so? It was for peace. It was to end wars, for the cessation of wars. Because if you think about it, when a war breaks out, who's sent to the front lines? Is it the elders? It's the youth, the young adults. Even just out of their childhood, they never see the prime of their lives and they are sent into war in vain. They are the greatest victims. And the ones who start the war, who are they? They're not the youth. Think about it. You would know this is true. I myself have personal experience of war. As a young man being sent out to the front lines of war during the Korean War. That was not right. It is not just. And it should not be repeated. The wars start because of somebody's greed. And even wars among the same people, that can never be justified. And now, that greed should come to a stop. To prevent wars, we need to put a stop to weapons of destruction that can take lives. But why haven't we accomplished this still? Because we haven't acted on what we can do. In our countries, we have national assemblies, parliaments, we have legislators and lawmakers. In the international community, it's the same. We have committee member states at the UN. If they are doing their jobs the way they should be doing it, then why do we still have wars? Imagine if we didn't have guns, how would people kill others? If they didn't have knives or weapons available to take lives, how would they take others' lives? That is the idea that lies in the content of the DPCW. That is what is drafted by the international law experts. Now, as the COVID pandemic is subsiding, now we are ready to regain our strength and push forward with this peace work globally. And when we do so, I urge all leaders and communities to support the DPCW with your signatures. Why? To prevent any young lives being lost in vain because of war. Once, I had an event hosted at the UN cemetery, convening many leaders from society. And I told them, the audience, I said, the men and women lying here in the cemetery are the people who fought by my side during the war. And we do not need any more leaders who just talk and do not act. We need concrete measures for peace. That is why we focus on repurposing weapons into useful tools that will help people. That is why we want to garner support toward this direction of peace. When my delegation visited Mindanao, we invited the leaders there, the local leaders, into one meeting. And we also had a convention just like this one. And we decided and concluded that we would do what the people want, which is peace. They agreed that they would stop the fight. Ladies and gentlemen, think about it. You are seeing the witness. I was the one who was there when we agreed for peace. As we are working for peace and the cessation of wars, as we are working for peace as a legacy for the future generations, we have to gather our hearts as one, and we have to work together as one. We cannot wait for someone else to do it for us. It's on us. It's you who can do it. It's us who has to make it happen. We can tell people that we love them, but if you really love them, you would show it with your actions. You can say many wonderful things. I'm sure many of you already have read the DPCW and its contents because we've sent it across the globe. But if really people, if they acted on it, we would not have wars already. And it is very possible. We can make it come true. What does it take? We take our leaders. We need our leaders to take the lead to make this a reality. That is why I continue on my world tour for peace, meeting heads of state, meeting parliament speakers, chancellors of universities, prime ministers, collecting their signatures to support the DPCW and for peace. You can check it out. You can verify by asking them. Whoever hasn't signed in support yet, I urge you to do so sooner. Think about it, what history would talk about your decision. If you decide not to sign in support for peace, the future generations will call it a decision against peace, because we are all the same. We are all humans. Who are you leading for? If you're president, who are you president and leading for? It's for your people. It's for your country. I myself am a descending line of a royal family. But what use is that? Medicine is only good for the sick. Peace is the medicine that we all need. And the commitment to peace is the medicine we need to stop wars. And we must all take part in this cause. We must be peace messengers individually. Each and every one of us is called as peace advocates and peace messengers. That way, peace will come true. I firmly believe so, and it is possible. Whenever I meet leaders on my World Peace Tour, we meet many world leaders and we take commemorative photos, and I have that on display for people to see. I also put their quotes with their photos. I have quite a collection. If you ever visit Korea, you can visit my place and see that collection on display. Why do I do such a thing? To accomplish peace. No people can last without a nation. No president is president without their people. If you look at the criminal law, the very first code of law in the book, if you look at the constitution of my country, the very first line in the code of law says it is a republic. It's a democratic republic, and the state authority comes from its people. And for people to thrive, we need peace. So the purpose of a nation comes from the people, and we need peace for all people. The authority comes from its people. So anyone who is in power or seeking power, their interest must be their people, and their interest must be peace. Wherever I go, in the Philippines as well, whether it's Mindanao or other regions across the country, what we should be striving for is peace. And I am sure when all of you join the family of peace across the Philippines, we can join forces, we can work together for peace, and that will bring great progress. The story of Mindanao is now so well known. It's such a success story for peace that the global community was amazed. Now the Philippines is a leading example for peace because of the peace established in Mindanao. With that decision for peace, it is a transition from death to life. It is an example set for the global community. It's a light shed on the world. As you can see, I am an old man. I can't say I'm an accomplished person. I'm rather old, but I am dedicated. I have dedicated the rest of my life for peace. Ladies and gentlemen, think about it. Let's say you have a world peace tour, even one trip. Think about the expense. Think about the resource that goes into it and the investment that goes into it. Nobody makes a contribution to it. Nobody's paying me to do it. I gain nothing out of it. I'm not well educated. I'm not well versed. However, still, for peace, I'm traveling around the world for the work of peace. So, ladies and gentlemen, I also want to invite you to join the work of peace because I know you can do it. And through your work, I know that peace can be accomplished. Many of you will have so many resources and talents. You can be healthy, you can be well built, or well versed, or educated and talented. No matter what you have, no matter your characteristics, any one of you can be a peace messenger and you can work for peace. And I'm talking to every one of you. And the work for peace must be done. So with the goodwill, let's work for peace together. Even at this moment, even today, we are doing a lot for peace. Many people come to us reaching out to collaborate for the peace work. And we are continuing the work of peace to build a nation of love, a nation of peace around the globe. Now, because of the COVID pandemic, many have been hidden away. And actually, I have been staying home for a long time. And after a long while, the Philippines is my first destination. The very first embarkment of the restarting peace work is the Philippines. So my heart and my legs were led here to the Philippines, I believe. Maybe God led me here. Because if you think about it, the Philippines was the most frequent destination for my peace tour. So, ladies and gentlemen, I ask of you, I humbly request to you, let's work as one. Let's have love for each other. Let's think about our neighbors around the world. When somebody is suffering in poverty or hardship, you cannot expect the rest of the world to be looking and caring, but we know what they need. And we all know we need peace. We know we cannot have peace as long as we have weapons. That is why it was so significant when we received the gift that was made out of weapons by melting it into a sickle. It's all about turning around, making it right, turning from the wrong path to the right. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe some of you already know very well, Korea used to be a very poor country. It was invaded, it was practically enslaved, its people suffered extortion. But now South Korea boasts a proud nation. It used to be one of the poorest countries in the globe. People saw no hope for it. And even many people thought Korea would be the starting point, the ignition point for the Third World War. But now look at it where it stands. It has come a long way. And when people talk about life, people talk about farming. The greatest farming, that kind of farming you can do is raising your children the right way. And we want to raise our children the right way collectively to build a better world. And that way we are building a better future for the entire nation, for our people. In perspective, I think of it this way. I imagine, if I were president, what would I do? If I were president, I would sow seeds. I would work. I would do the hard work. No, it's not a realistic hypothesis, me becoming president, but in saying, it's about caring for your people, doing the work it takes, and doing the right thing. So you entertain the idea of being hands-on and doing the right work for your nation and for your people. But along the same line, I invite you to have love for each other, for your people, and for your nation. And that way we will build a better world. Sincerely, as I have come to Philippines quite often, I have love for your country, this great nation. So that said, let's join our forces for peace. And sometimes my heart is drawn to your country, so I often write about your country as well. And one day we will reach such progress and achieve and accomplish great things. The world will become a better place. And forever, and ever we can become one and have love for each other. The DPCW that I have introduced to you today, this must be promoted in the global community to the UN and garner greater support globally. And whatever group you represent here, the step you take will make a difference, and it will make progress. And wherever you go, when you promote peace, when you support the DPCW, it will have beneficial outcomes. Recently in Korea, a youth volunteer group, more than 70,000 people, young adults, volunteered and donated their blood to help cure COVID. And this was reported by the BBC. The media noticed it, and they got very good response across societies. I think the same thing can happen in the Philippines. It can set a good example for the world. This is based on love for the people. The government should have love for its people. The people should have love and support for the government, and that will all come back in turn. And that way, we can become one. Whenever I come to the Philippines, I appreciate what I see and hear. I take it close to my heart, and I take it as a dear memory. And that has built the work of peace that we have been doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us work as one. Let us become one. Let us have love for each other and keep working together. Thank you very much for your attention. I love you. Thank you.